So if you and your friend both have an Oxygen OS 16 device like this one, wouldn't it be cool if you could show off some stuff that makes your phone look, feel, and perform better than theirs?
Yup!
And just to be clear, it's not that they don't have these things on their phone, it's just that maybe they haven't spent the time to learn how to use them. And if you watch this video to the end, you definitely won't be one of those people anymore. And this is part 2 of 2 in this OnePlus 15 video series. And I'll link part 1 at the end of this one, just in case you miss it. You'll also find it in the description. So if you're ready, let's go. Now, something I alluded to in part 1 of this 2-part video series is how to get live alerts from your favorite sports teams right up here in what's known as the live alert section, aka OnePlus's dynamic island. This does not happen automatically, and actually the way to set it up is a little bit complicated. So let me show you. If you go into your settings, and then here, if you scroll down a little bit to notifications and quick settings, here, go to the live alert section, and right here, you'll see the sports from Google. If you just tap on the writing here, this is where you can configure this. And this is the part that most people will miss. See this little arrow to the side of this little section here? Just tap on that. This brings you to the Google Sports page where you can find your favorite teams. You'll see recommendation, you'll see the categories for different sports, but you could just type in the team that you want to follow. So let's say for me, I'm just gonna go with England national team and select that. So now whenever England are playing, at the top of the screen, I will get live alerts to tell me how the game is going automatically without having to do anything. So if you're unfortunately at work when one of your favorite sports teams are playing, you can keep an eye on what's going on right there on your home screen without having to open an app or even touch your phone, and you will know exactly what the score is and when things happen. So OnePlus have very kindly sent me this phone, and I'm very grateful that they have, but unfortunately for me, they sent me the violet color, which is very much the girls' version of the phone. And yeah, the wallpaper matches that. So let me show you how to customize the wallpapers, but not just the standard way. There's some really interesting dynamic styles which I need to show you. So if you go into settings and then here go to home screen, lock screen and style. This is where you'll find the Flux themes. So if you tap here where it says all Flux themes, you get an idea of some of the options you have. Now these ones right here are really cool because you can actually add a video file behind the clock and you just download these. I'll show you how it works as standard and then I'll show you how to add your own little video. So we've got this cowboy one here. We're going to tap on that and straight away you can see the motion behind the clock. So it's a nice effect. Now if you tap wallpaper here, you can select one of your own videos from your library. It'll only take a few seconds of that clip, but that will then appear behind the time. So look how cool these animations are. When you push the power button, you get the animation here. And also when you unlock the phone, the animation can continue on the home screen like this. Now, before we move away from the Flux themes, there's some other really nice ones here that I want to show you. So these ones right here, the Sublime Grandeur, these are quite nice too. And again, you can customize them. So if I choose this one, you'll see the mountain range kind of moves in place and the clock sits behind the mountain range. Again, you can add your own video file here or just a static image if you want. To do that, you just hit the wallpaper and at the top go to choose from album and then you could choose the image that you want to use or video. And if you tap the clock here, you can actually customize the style of the clock and add some basic widgets as well. If you scroll down a little bit, you could change the font size and even the color of the font. And these are actually wallpaper combinations and they also come with their own always on displays, which are really nice because they kind of seamlessly tie together. You can, of course, customize always on display separately if you wanted to. Another style worth looking at is Chase the Light. So this is a static image version of those, where you can use one of your own images to stand out in front of the text behind, and you can customize text just like before, just by tapping on it. When I first saw this, I thought maybe these areas were widget spaces, but unfortunately the widget options are kind of limited at the moment. Maybe they'll bring those later on with an update. Now, if you are going to go with one of the static themes and you're not going all in on one of the Flux themes where you have the animations between the lock screen and the always on display, you might want to do this. Go back into settings and go to home screen, lock screen and style again. And this time just swipe down a little bit and go to always on display. And here you can customize the display individually from the home screen and lock screen wallpapers. There are loads of styles, including a bunch of new ones. You can even have text, which you customize yourself. So have a look through these, but something that's brand new and I really like is the full screen, always on display. So if you just scroll back up just to the left hand side here, you'll see full screen. If you enable that, now your lock screen and always on display look like this. Okay, this next tip will be perfect for you if you don't want people spying on your notifications when you leave your phone on a table. So go into your settings again. This time scroll down a bit further and go to notifications and quick settings. There are a couple of optional settings that you can look at here. Hiding your notifications when your phone is locked. If you're a very private person, you might want to do that. Also, wake screen when a notification is received. And this is if you're the opposite of a person who cares about privacy, because your phone will flash every time you get a notification and people might look at your phone. But it won't matter if you enable the setting that I really want to show you. So here, go into more settings, and this is where you'll find the smart notification hiding feature. So tap on this and enable smart notification hiding. Now you might be wondering, what does this even do? Well, as you can see, you have to enroll your face, and what happens is anytime you look at your phone, it will know if it's you or not, and therefore whether to show the notifications or not. So if you've set up Face ID on your phone already, you won't have to do this. I actually just set up the biometric, so I didn't use Face Unlock to set up this phone initially. And now that this is configured, the notifications will only show when it's me and only me looking at the phone. If anyone looks at the phone, the notifications will not pop up, which is perfect if you want privacy. Okay, so if you watch part 1 of this 2-part series, you already know how to improve the display significantly. But here's a little tip to make it sound even better. So within the settings menu, once again, this time we go to sound and vibration, scroll down until you see hollow audio. Go to this. So I'm sure you've heard of spatial audio, immersive audio, or Dolby Atmos audio. Well, this is essentially OnePlus's version of this. And if you switch this on, what you can then do is actually customize where sounds are coming from. And it does this in a very clever way, and it actually works really, really well. So you can leave it on auto and it will just do everything for you. But if you want to, you can go to custom here and you could tap the types of notifications. For example, let's say the alarm clock. If I tap that, you can then use the sliders underneath to actually reposition where the alarm clock will sound like it's coming from. And trust me, this might seem like a gimmick, but it actually really, really works. So each one of these icons represents a different system sound, and you could place each one individually. So you could have your alarm clock to your right hand side. You could have your phone calls to your left hand side. You can have music always sounding like it's right in front of you. And then you could have your sat nav notifications sound like they're coming from behind you. So I recommend you set this up on day 1, and trust me, you're going to be impressed with the results. Okay, here's another little customization tweak for the home screen. So I'm using the Sublime Grandeur preset from the Flux themes, which I showed you earlier on in the video. But as you can see here, the edges of the mounting kind of distract you from what's on the screen, particularly these matching color icons right here. Here's a really nice way to soften that background image to make your icons stand out a bit more clearly and therefore make them easier to find. If you hold your finger down on the home screen and go to wallpaper and style, at the bottom here, you will see the style icon. So just tap on that. And here is where you got a bunch of different options. So you got the narrow reads, which are really quite nice. But let's say you want to customize these narrow reads. If you use this little slider right here, you can actually change the effect and soften the image up even more. I'm just going to go back to one for now because I want to show you the wide reads, which is also quite cool. But I don't like the look of this one that much, but it does look nicer when you blur it a little more. And if you go across, you'll see all of the different options that you have. Now, depending on the image that you're going to use, some of these effects will look better than others. So that looks pretty cool. And you know what? I've just got the feeling that I'm not doing this video justice by not actually choosing a custom wallpaper. So let me do that real quick. I know this is very, very obvious for some of you guys, but just in case it isn't for some of you newcomers to Oxygen OS, if you go to your photo library, choose the photo, hit the 3 dots in the top right corner and go to set as wallpaper. This is the classic way to set up a home screen and lock screen wallpaper. So there we go. I've set up Master Yoda now on the lock screen. And if I scroll across to the home screen, I can go to style and add that effect. Maybe the narrow reads with a little bit of blur. So there we go. Better it is. Okay, so the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed when I held my finger down on the home screen and went to wallpaper and style, there were some more options on this bottom row. So let's get a look at those. So right down here is where you can customize the user interface within the settings menus and other system menus and apps. So if you go to system colors right here, you've got the default ones up here which you can choose from, and it gives you an idea of how these will affect the system colors in these little windows right here. So you can choose your favorite ones from the presets if you want to. But if you want to get real creative with the system colors, if you go to custom, you've got this little color wheel right here and you could choose what color you want it to be. So I'm going to go bluish green for that Yoda wallpaper, somewhere about there. And now all of the system colors will look like that. So if I jump into settings, you'll see straight away all of these icons have that blue accent. If you do want more of a color palette instead of just one solid color, you can use these ones down here, which actually take the color palette from your selected wallpaper, so it will kind of match the theme of your phone if you prefer. Okay, this next one is one of my favorite customization tweaks to do with OnePlus devices. If you go into the settings and go to the home screen, lock screen and style, and then swipe up, here is where you'll see the icons settings. So if you tap on this, there are quite a few options here. So you've got the flux themes, which will match the icons according to your wallpaper and color palettes, which you just set up. You've got radiant, shadow, which is kind of like a dark mode for the apps, which is really nice. I actually like how this looks. And what's cool about this one is even third-party apps, even if they can't be fully black, they will have this black circle around the outside of the original app icon, which is quite cool. You don't have to worry about compatibility like you would with third-party launchers. So this is definitely one of my favorite themes. You've also got material and pebble. If you stick with the default one though, you can apply this right here, which is actually a different approach to dark theme. So if the shadow style is not quite your cup of tea, but you do want dark icons, you can tap this little switch right here, and that modifies them in a slightly different way. And there is another step to customizing icons. If you swipe down, you could change the size of them. You could change how rounded the corners are. If it is an icon that's more square, for example, this actually will soften those edges, and vice versa if it's a circle like this one was originally. So I actually like the look of this one. And then here you can reduce the size of the app names. It only applies to certain styles within the theme options here. But I like the look of this right now, so I'm going to go with this. So you can see how the phone is starting to take on a different style. Very different from anyone who just gets it out of the box, sets it up and doesn't customize anything. Okay, here is a quick bonus customization tip that a lot of people don't even know about. I'm surprised actually how many people don't know about this. You can actually customize the Google search bar. Almost everyone who has an Android phone will have this search bar, and whether they're in dark mode or light mode, those are the two color options they'll have, but there are actually a lot more options available. So let me show you how to get access to them. So if you tap on the Google icon at the end here, this brings you to the Google app. In the top right corner, if you tap here, this will take you to your Google account. If you scroll down a little bit, you will see settings at the bottom. If you go to this, now hidden on this page is the custom search widget option. So if you tap on this, now you have access to fully customize that search bar and make it completely different from everybody else's if you want to. So if you set up the color palettes how I showed you earlier on, if you go to device, it will take on those color palettes that you set up. You can also go to custom here and choose a very specific hue. So I'm going to go like a dark purple or something like that. There we go. And I'm going to change the transparency as well to make it a bit more translucent. And here you'll find some more secret tools that so many people will never ever discover unless they've seen this video, of course. Hit the little plus right here. My favorite one to add now is actually the AI mode. So this will actually do an AI mode search instead of the regular Google search when you touch that icon. If you are going to be traveling, the translate feature could be good. The music search or song search is also very, very useful. Have a look at the options that you have here and set this up in a way that would be useful to you. And here we have it, my brand new custom search bar with the AI search tool within it. And also just be aware that you can actually resize the Google search bar if you want. If it takes up too much space, you can shrink it down, but you will lose some of those tools that you just added. Okay, so we've made lots of visual changes. Here's another visual change, but this one's in regards to animations. So if you go to your settings, on this page, go to home screen, lock screen, and style again. On this screen, if you swipe up and go to the more section right here, tap on this and go to edge lighting, these will pop up whenever you get a notification and things like that. You can choose between the different colors here, but as you can see, because I've got the full screen AOD on, I cannot use these effects. So it depends on how much you want the always on photo or image. If you're willing to sacrifice this, you could have edge lighting notifications. If we go back one step, there is another customization tweak to have a look at here, and that is the fingerprint animations. So there are quite a few here, and you could choose one that kind of differentiates your phone from other people's phones if you want to. And if we go back again and again, and scroll down to transition animations, tap here. There are a lot of different options for when you're navigating between the different pages on the device. So you could choose your favorite ones. Okay, thank you for making it halfway through this video. I'm not going to ask you guys to subscribe if this video has helped you, because whenever I do that, most people are like,
No, I don't think I will.
So instead, maybe just stick around for the second half and the bonus tips at the end, and then you can decide whether I am worthy or not of your subscription. So in part one of the two-part series, I did show you guys how to optimize the display, but there were some settings that I alluded to which I didn't speak about in that first video. So let me pay that off for you now. If you go to display and brightness and scroll down, you definitely want to leave auto brightness on. I've only switched it off for the filming of this video. Here's what I really want to show you guys. The adaptive tone is very good for your eyes. So in the evening, or based on the lighting around you at any given time, the phone can adapt its colors to be more gentle on your eyes. So this is definitely nice if you care about your eyesight. Although if you are watching movies and stuff on the plane, it could actually ruin the colors a little bit. So just be aware of where the adaptive tone setting is. Now, if you scroll down a bit further, you'll see the screen attention option. Now this, similar to what I showed you earlier with the face detection for your notifications, this will detect when you're actually looking at the screen, and when you are looking at the screen won't time out. So if you're reading something and you haven't touched the screen for a long time, it's not going to suddenly dim and then switch off. So if that's something that bothers you, you might want to switch this on. Okay, staying within the display and brightness menu, there is one more thing I need to show you. If you scroll down a little bit and go to eye care right here, tap on that. These features are actually switched off straight out of the box, and you might want to switch them on if you find your eyes are kind of straining from time to time, maybe because you're looking at the screen too much, or just maybe because your eyesight isn't what it once was. Either way, you might want to switch on this. This kicks in the evenings when you should really be winding down. You can set a custom level of how warm you want the display to be when this kicks in if you want to. And there is another nice eye care feature here. If you swipe down a little bit further, you can actually switch on this feature, which allows the phone to give you reminders if you've been looking at the screen for a bit too long. So if you care about your eyes, definitely switch this one on. Okay, so I don't know what phone you're using, but the OnePlus 15 does have a big screen, and reaching the top of the screen can be tricky from time to time. There is a one-handed mode, but there's actually an even better way to reach icons that are further up and maybe just out of reach on your home screens. Let me show you how to activate it. Jump back into the settings and go to home screen, lock screen, and style once again. Swipe up, and then here go to home screen settings, and here is where you'll find the icon pull down gesture feature. It does give you a little explainer as to how this works. I'm just going to switch it on so I can show you guys. Once this is on, if you swipe in from the side, not from the corner, from the side and inwards, it brings all of the apps into the bottom right corner. If you do it from the other side and inwards, it brings them down into the bottom left corner. So when you are using your phone one-handed and you need to get to that app that's out of reach, just swipe inwards like that, and then you can easily reach it just like this. And if you're wondering what the hell is Mindspace, well, check out part one of this two-part video series, and that will explain everything for you. Okay, so we've customized quite a lot on this phone so far. Let me show you how to improve notifications on the device. So once again, into settings. Scroll down to notifications and quick settings. On this page, scroll down to where you see more settings. And here is where you'll see enhanced notifications. And if you're wondering what this does, it gives you suggested actions when you receive a notification contextually. So it'll use the on-device AI to try and guess what you might want to do next with that notification, including suggested replies. So if you want to supercharge your notifications, switch this on. And if you want the ability to snooze certain apps when they're just blowing up and annoying you, you might want to switch on notification snoozing as well. This gives you the ability to do that. All right, here is the next one. And this is actually something that I like to do on pretty much all Android phones, although it's not quite the same here on OnePlus. So if anyone from OnePlus is watching this, yeah, this is something you might need to tweak a bit, but it's still pretty cool. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Scroll down the settings menu once again. This time we're going to go to accessibility and convenience. Scroll all the way to the bottom of this page to where you see the power button. Tap on this, and here's where you can remap some of the shortcuts assigned to the power button. I do like the push and hold for Gemini. That's just something that I use on every device. The double click right here can only be remapped to camera, but I guess it's better than nothing, right? On iPhone, a double push of this button actually brings up the Apple Wallet. On Android phones, if they allow it, I always set it up as the Google Wallet. But on this phone, it can only be camera, which is still better than nothing. And it also means if you've mapped the plus key to open the camera, you can get rid of that now and map it here instead. And then that way you can use this for something else, like Mindspace, for example. And now that that's set up, if you ever need to snap a quick photo, just double push the power key, jump straight into the camera app. So thank you guys for making it all the way to the end of this video. And of course, I have some bonus quickfire tips and tricks for you guys. Most people don't spend the time to master and unlock the full potential of their devices. And this is a reward for you guys staying this long. So check this out. A nice little update to the Oxygen OS is the ability to reconfigure your quick settings with a bit more control. So if you bring down your quick settings and hit the pen right here, this section at the top can be fully customized. They're not locked in place like they are on some other ecosystems. So you can just delete any of these things. In fact, we could delete them all if we wanted to from the top half of the quick settings. This opens up all of the blocks that you can use to bring other things up into a space. So for example, location. Now, if you want the bigger icons to take up 4 spaces, if you hit the plus on any one of these boxes, if there is space enough for it, you can add any of these. So I'm just going to add the brightness and the volume back there because that's very useful. If you're going to be using multiple OnePlus devices or compatible devices, this one could be quite useful. And then you've got all of the individual ones as well. So there are a couple of these individual tools that I highly recommend you add, starting with the quick share. So this is, as you know, Android's answer to AirDrop. This allows you to share larger video files to Android devices using direct Wi-Fi signals. But now OnePlus also has the ability to do the same between Android and iPhones. They do have to have a bit of software and app on their phone for this to work, but it works in a very similar way to AirDrop. So if that's something you're going to be doing a lot, you might want to add share with iPhone up here and quick share to Android right here. So ideally what you should do is put your most important quick settings near the top in this section, and then all of these ones down here can also be customized as well. One of the options worth adding, in my opinion, with this particular phone is the IR remote, because this phone does indeed have an infrared blaster, which means whenever you lose your remote control at home, you can just use your phone to turn on the TV, or you could just use it to wind people up for a laugh. Okay, so now let me show you how to actually share to iPhone and to Apple Mac computers using your OnePlus device. Okay, so now that you've added the share with iPhone feature to your quick settings, or even if you haven't, you've added it down here, what you can now do is actually share stuff directly from your phone to an Apple Mac or Windows PC instantly, just like AirDrop on an iPhone. And if we're being honest, one of the most used excuses for not switching to Android is the fact that you can't do this. Well, now you can with OnePlus's own software, which is called O+ Connect. And this is how you install it. You go to the OnePlus official website, you go to download for PC, and here is where you'll find the option to download it for Mac. You have to choose the version of Mac that you're using. Most new ones will be the M series chip, and install that. Now, once you've done that, when you hit the share with iPhone, this will actually allow you to link the phone to your Apple Mac computer or PC. And you can see right there, it's showing the OnePlus, it's showing the battery levels. If I go to files, I can explore all of the files on the device remotely, very, very easily. And you can even screencast from the phone. And now if I want to share anything from the OnePlus device to the Mac or PC or iPhone, just hit the share button as you normally would. You'll see iPhone or PC option right there, and the Mac appears just the same as it does on an iPhone. That image has now been sent to the Mac, and you'll get a little notification at the top. And if you don't see that, just go to the O+ icon here at the top, and you'll see that the image has been received from the phone and it's now accessible on the computer. So if AirDrop is one of the features that you think you'll miss if you switch, well, you won't have to miss it anymore. Here is another bonus quickfire tip. Scroll all the way down within the settings menu to accessibility and convenience. And on this page, just swipe down until you see this quick launch. Now, this is a very unique OnePlus feature that allows you to jump straight into an app, straight from the lock screen, just by keeping your thumb on the screen and selecting the app that you want. You do have to set this up though. So when you swipe down a little bit, you'll see the default quick launch apps. Just delete all of those if you want. Now that those 5 spaces are all clear, you can set up your own quick launch apps as well as shortcuts within the phone. So there are a whole bunch of options here. Just choose the ones that would be best for you. For example, something that you use every day. Let's say YouTube search when you're looking for the next What Gear review video. If you go to apps, all of your apps will appear here and you can customize those as well. So let's say maps, for example, Chrome, calculator, and Google Drive. Now, once this is all set up and the phone is locked, when you hold your fingerprint on the screen, the quick launch settings appear, and then you can just drag your thumb or first finger or whatever across to the app that you want to open. So thank you guys for making it to the very end of this video. I really appreciate it. If you have subscribed, you are now one of the finest subscribers known to man. And if you want to check out part 1 of this 2-part series, that's on screen right now. And if you've just subscribed, well then,
Thank you.
appreciate you guys for watching. If you just subscribed, I will see you in the next one. Don't be late.